Hello everyone, I'm Rex, a digital artist, and today's episode of Lore Corner will be talking about magic in the world of Vaeliann. We'll start off with magicians. Magicians are the regular magic users in Vaeliann, and are the staple for innovation. Magic was first given to humans after dragons had already walked on Vaeliann. Some dragons had bonded with humans, creating the first magic users, called Wielders. As the Wielders aged and reproduced, they created the first magicians. Magicians are notorious for having silver in their blood. This is because dragons' blood, which is silver, was shared with Wielders, the ancestors of all magicians. Magicians are highly sought after, as the trait for magic is recessive. Noble houses carry this genetic allele, so a commoner magician is unheard of, unless they are an illegitimate child. Due to this recessive and sought-after trait, illegitimate children who inherit magic have a chance at taking over their parents' noble house, or creating a new one if deemed so by the king. For magicians, magic has a distinct set of rules for them. The first rule being that no magic comes without a cost, meaning every spell casted will use energy, no exceptions. If a magician casts a spell that uses more energy than they have, then, well, they die, and the spell is incomplete and fizzles out of existence. 2. If a spell does not replicate natural orders, you must have the knowledge to fill that gap. An example of this is healing. Saying, "be healed" in Etherish will heal someone naturally, meaning the wound would heal as if no spell had been casted. If one would say, "be healed this instant," a wound would be healed to the natural extent. This leaves scars, and if a wound cannot heal naturally, the spell does nothing. So, those who heal to prevent scars and death must know every nerve, muscle, and vein they have to patch in order for the restoration to be seamless. 3. You must be specific. Etherish nor magic can just sense your intention. Anything left out of the verbal spell will not happen. And finally, for the magic, or silver, in a magician's blood to be usable, they must say the trigger word, Harak. If Etherish is spoken without this, the magic will remain stagnant. Now on to the Wielders. Wielders were the very first magic users on Vaeliann. Dragons chose to bond with them, seeking peaceful coexistence. This meant sharing the ancient magic within them to humans. As a result, the bond combines the two souls of the human and the dragon. If one side of the bond dies, the other soul quite literally breaks, leaving it half empty. Since the souls are considered one, when the dragon dies, the human still retains their magical capabilities. Wielders have the highest concentration of silver in their blood, while still being considered human. This gives them greater access to magic, and the rules of use differ from regular magicians. Wielders' magic costs no energy. They still must say the trigger word to activate their magic, and must speak Etherish to put that magic into use, but they lose no energy from spells, no matter how large. However, with their magic being more ancient, Wielders' magic has unique restrictions. The first of them being morality. If a Wielder detests killing someone, their magic cannot, and will not, do that. The spell will fizzle out and die. The same rule of knowledge and specificness still applies to them. Now, if these are the only ways Wielders differ from magicians, how would one tell the difference? Well, due to a Wielder's bond with a dragon, they are marked. This mark appears as a tattoo of the dragon in the same color of the dragon's scales anywhere on the Wielder's body. Now, genetically, a Wielder cannot reproduce with another Wielder, nor can their children be Wielders. A Wielder has 2 strong magician alleles making them a Wielder. Only one of these alleles can be passed down to children. If a strong magician allele is present, it changes a normal gene into a magician gene. This would cancel out the strong gene and make them a normal magician. Now on to Zeyn. Zeyn is a precious material, even more valuable than gold. This gem can contain and export energy to and from a magician. Once given energy, a piece of Zeyn can store it for later use or fuel it to a different source. Zeyn has the ability to be enchanted for different purposes with this property. Depending on where the Zeyn is harvested from, it can do a number of things. For example, if the Zeyn is from the Cerisi Desert, once the conversion process is started, it will take energy from the light and convert it into, most commonly, heat. This proves useful because when sold as plates, you could put a pan on it and cook food. If the Zeyn comes from a neutral zone, a magician can choose its conversion source and export. Things like this are used to create barriers around towns and houses in areas that would otherwise be inhospitable. In rare cases, when coming from the old times when Zeyn was harvested from the sky-touched mountains, that particular Zeyn could use wind in place of sunlight. Even the slightest breeze could start the conversion process. This was used on mainly dragon saddles, which would suction onto the dragon no matter how big or small. And that's it for today's episode of Lore Corner. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you soon.